What is the difference between personal injury and workers' compensation in New York? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you have been injured, whether at work, in a car accident, or in some other way, you might be wondering about your legal options for compensations. Today, we are diving deep into two major types of claims that people often get confused: personal injury and worker compensations. Both of these claims can provide compensation for your injuries, but they work very differently. By the end of this video, you will understand the key difference between the two and which one apply to your case. So let's get started. Before we dive into the detail, here is something you may not know. Even though personal injuries and workers' compensation both deal with injuries, the way you pursue a claim and the type of compensation you get can vary drastically. Knowing which one to pursue is crucial, and choosing the wrong route could cost you thousands of dollars. Stick with me, and we will walk through everything you need to know. First is, what is personal injuries? Let's start with personal injuries. Personal injuries law cover cases where an individual is injured due to the negligence or wrongdoing of another parties. These injuries can happen in all kinds of settings: car accidents, medical malpractice, slip and fall accident, dog bites, and even defective product case. In New York, personal injuries claims are typically filed in civil court. To win a personal injury case, you must prove that someone else's negligence caused your injuries. So, what does negligence mean? It simply means that someone else failed to take reasonable care to prevent harm, and that failure lead to your injuries. For example, if you are in a car accident caused by a reckless driver, that driver's negligence is the basis for your personal injury claim. Or if you sleep on a wet floor in a store because they did not put up a warning sign, that is another example of negligence. And second is, what is worker compensations? Now let's look at worker compensations. Worker compensations is a no fault insurance system that provides benefits to employees who get injured while performing their job duties. The key difference here is that you don't have to prove negligence or fault to receive benefits. As long as the injuries occurred while performing work related duties, you are eligible for worker compensation benefits. Worker compensations is a state mandate system, meaning every employer in New York is required by law to provide workers' compensation insurance. This program covers medical expenses, a portion of lost wage, and disability benefits if you are unable to work due to the injuries. It's important to note that worker compensation is typically the exclusive remedy for workplace injuries, meaning that you generally cannot sue your employer for negligence related to the injuries. However, if a third party caused the injury, like a defective piece of equipment or a subcontractor, then you may be able to pursue a personal injuries claim in addition to workers' compensation. Third is, key difference between personal injuries worker compensations. Okay, now that we have defined personal injuries and worker compensation. Let's go over the key difference between the two so you can see how they really stack up against each other. First, the key factor who is at fault. In a personal injury case, you must prove that someone else was negligent and that their actions caused your injuries. In a worker compensation case, you don't need to prove fault at all. You simply need to show that the injuries happened while you were working. Second, type of compensations. Personal injury case may include compensation for medical bills, pain and suffering, emotional distress, lost wage, and sometimes punitive damage. If the defendant's actions were partially egregious, workers' compensation generally cover medical expenses, a portion of lost wage, and disability benefits, but it does not include pain and suffering or emotional distress. And third, who you are suing. In personal injury claim, you are suing the person or company responsible for your injuries, which could be an individual, a businessman, even a government entity. In worker compensation, you are not suing anyone. The claim is filed with your employer's insurance companies and it is a no fault system. And fourth is worker compensation versus personal injuries. What is the better option for you? So, which one should you pursue? Well, that really depends on the situation. If your injuries happen at work, you are likely going to file a worker compensation claim. It is simply quicker way to get benefits without needing to prove fault. However, you cannot sue your employer for a workplace injury in most cases. So you might not be able to get compensation for pain and suffering or other non-economic damages. On the other hand, if your injury happened due to someone else's negligence outside of work, a personal injury claim could be the better option. Personal injury cases allow you to seek higher compensation, including for things like pain and suffering, emotional distress, and punitive damage. But of course, it is more complex, and you will need to prove negligence. Fifth is when can you file both? Now, what if your injuries happen at work but a third party is responsible? Can you file both a worker compensation claim and a personal injury lawsuit? The answer is yes. In some cases, if a third party such as manufacturer or another company is responsible for your injuries, you may be able to pursue a personal injury claim is in addition to worker compensation. This is known as a third party claim. For example, if you are injured on a construction site due to a defective tool or equipment, you could file a worker compensation claim and also sue the manufacturer of the fault equipment. And 6 is time limits for personal injuries and worker compensation claim. Time is of the essence when it comes to filing a claim. Both personal injury and worker compensation claim have a strict time limits known as a statute of limitation. For personal injury case in New York, you generally have 3 years from the date of the injuries to file a lawsuit. But in worker compensation case, you must report your injuries to your employer within 30 days and file your claim within 2 years of the accident. Seventh, seventh is conclusion and a call to action. To wrap it up, personal injuries and worker compensation are two different legal pathways, but both are designed to help people get compensation after an injury. If you are unsure which path to take, it is best to consult with an attorney who can guide you through the process and help you understand which option is best for your specific situation. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe for more legal tips, insights, and share it with anyone who might need to know about the injuries claim option in New York.